So recently I read Arc 5 of ReZero, which will be season 3 of the anime at the time of this recording. So I wanted to do a few analysis on characters I liked in this arc and Subaru. This analysis today will be Julius, the finest of night in Arc 5. Note there will be heavy spoilers for Arc 5 and season 3 in general. Without further ado, let's begin.
Silly thing, Subaru. I'm sorry, Julius. You can be such a child sometimes.
You're one to talk, Mealy.
You need not apologize, Miss Amelia. But you there. I do not agree with your tactic of hiding behind your master and having her grovel on your behalf.
Hit me where it hurts, why don't ya? Sorry.
You seem to be struggling with your words quite a bit, but I accept your apology. I am Julius Euclius, a knight of the Royal Guard.
Julius' arc in this arc isn't actually a character arc, but rather a arc towards everything that built up for his character. In the beginning of the arc, we start with a visit from Julius' brother, Joshua, speaking of Julius' praises to everyone else. Joshua came to the Amelian camp in the beginning of the story in order to invite them to the water city under anesthesia request. When we have the battle in the capital, Julius has his first battle with the Sin Archbishop of Gluttony. However, the results of the battle was simply put a loss for Julius, and he ends up having wavering feelings for the majority of the arc afterwards. These wavering feelings in himself gets worse when he finds out about Ekena's relationship with Anastasia after Subaru. This leads him to believe that Anastasia believes in Subaru more than she does in him. It's an extremely striking blow to Julius' pride. Everything he worked for, everything he strived for, and he still doesn't have the full trust of his master, Anastasia, and she had no hesitation to tell Subaru. Mind you, it's mostly due to the fact that Anastasia and Subaru have similar spirits, being artificial spirits. However, Julius can't really see that, and so it does hurt him, but he doesn't say anything. He makes sure to keep it to himself. During the Battle of the Towers, he is the only one to completely lose his fight with nothing to gain. Everyone forgets about him due to gluttony authority. The worst thing of all, however, is unknown to him. The worst thing of all is by the end of this arc, Anastasia is lost due to Ekena meddling. However, he does not know this.
I'm Subaru Natsuki. I'm someone important enough to Mealy that we walked around the royal capital holding hands.
Yes, so you wouldn't wander off on your own.
The interesting thing about this arc when it comes to Julius's and Subaru arcs is Subaru has a upride to his arc. He has a character arc, mind you, unlike Julius's, but he has an upward arc of popularity. Subaru's sorcery arc was talking about his own achievements and improvements. However, when he encountered Joshua doesn't really acknowledge anything about him. He doesn't really see anything special about him compared to Julius. In the beginning of this arc, Subaru is outshined by Julius. At least, that's how it appears. However, once he arrives in the City of Water, the first person to praise Subaru is none other than Julius himself. As Julius started talking about his praise, everyone followed through, talking about how great Subaru is and how great of achievements he had come to. Everyone has respect for Subaru. But later on in the scene, we truly see Wilhelm's respect for Subaru, and as well as his trust for Subaru. We really get to see a side of Wilhelm that truly trusts and respects someone that isn't from his camp. During a battle with Sirius and Regulus, he loses his leg and is forced to limp on one leg. That is until he fights Compella. And after his fight with Compella, he gains a new leg, one that happens to be stronger than his old leg, from what we are told at least. While the City of Water was in a downtrodden state, Subaru managed to gain the trust of everyone in the City of Water through his speech, which was rather pathetic, but it was kind of him to show his pathetic self and courage to fight the good fight. During the battle for the towers, he happens to defeat the Sin Archbishop Regulus and gain his wish factor. During the battle, him and Amelia grow closer, especially through the last moments. His defeat of Regulus gains him the witch factor, though this can be seen as a plus or a minus. Personally, I see it as a plus as he gains a new power, anyway. And finally, Subaru is considered a hero in this battle in the City of Water that will be remembered by all. Sound familiar? It's complete contrast to Julius's theme. Forgotten by everyone and only remembered by Subaru, versus Subaru, who is remembered by everyone now, who is the star of the show at this point. Well, he's the main character, but you catch my drift. He's the star of Laguna Girl.
We'll visit every now and again. After all, it allows me to come across such beautiful flowers across my path.
Huh? What do you think you're doing?
That's quite the greeting. I am merely greeting a lady as any knight should.
As a knight should? You think you can just take my Mealy's hand and... Ow, 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 ow.
This arc to me points out how opposite these two really are as well. Like how Julius's would try to understand the Sin Archbishop but agreed multiple times, while Subaru gave up trying understanding any of them from the jump. And I know some of you are going to say this, but yes, I have seen the interview where Tepe says that the Sin Archbishops are all evil, that none of them are actually going to end up being good guys, and etc, etc. However, I still admire Julius's trait of constantly trying to, reason and understand a Sin Archbishop. That alone shows how much of a kind person he is. Subaru and Julius have two different reactions to their loss in the Battle of the City Central. Subaru can barely keep his emotions inside, barely can keep them in check, and lashes out from time to time, while Julius keeps his emotion in check so well that he barely shows his own frustration. Subaru even gets mad at him for how calm he is, yet he only slightly notices at the last moment that Julius isn't really calm. He's just showing himself to be calm to, comfort everyone. He is being that type of person that is selfless. Julius's methods never really get anyone hurt either. Heck, even their choice of weapons are different in the fact that they're completely opposite. Subaru's choice of weapon is a long-range whip, while Julius's uses a sword, a short, somewhat short-handed weapon. However, this is where they also are the same. They are both kind to a fault, which ends up being their biggest problem. Subaru is too empathetic, while Julius is also empathetic but isn't understood by others. Subaru is, selfless, but constantly get others hurt. Julius is just as selfless, but never gets anyone hurt. Both of them are arrogant, prideful, well, idiots. Yet, they are loved by many. Well, at least till this point. You can see where I'm getting at now. These two are so different, yet one of the same. It's interesting how well this is shown to us throughout this arc. I really love it.
君とエリスに望まぬ決断を強いたのは私の不徳だ。いずれ罰を受けるだろう。
Julius is fantastically used in this arc. He is probably one of my favorite characters throughout this whole series. And I really am happy to see him used this well, as I was scared that maybe in the future that he wouldn't be used as well. That he was just going to be a measuring stick for Subaru. And in one way you can see this as still being a measuring stick for Subaru. It doesn't discount his character. He's still the kind person that he used to be. This kind, selfless, and, well, somewhat arrogant person he always has been. And I really love that. By the end of the story, he still happened to have his spirits, and he's still the spirit knight, in a sense. However, he truly has lost everything, and I can't wait to see how he moves on with this. How does he continue being? In contrast, I can't wait to see how the rest of Anastasia Camp is handled throughout the rest of the series. I do think that Julius is an amazing character that isn't talked about enough. And I really hope that this analysis has turned other people into Julius's fans too. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.